So, ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and girls, nerds, weeds, and otaku, welcome back and welcome home.
Hello there, Applebites. This is your Applebite Written Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. And it's time to get creative, have fun, roll the dice, and see what happens. See? Joe is already with it.
Dang, I got a 1.
So, folks, today everybody has some kind of connection to D&D, so this is going to be a dandy of a show.
My connection to D&D is being Ralph's friend, so that's it.
Exactly.
Guilty by association.
I've never played it in my life. I'm just his friend.
Well, I played it once.
Right on.
All right.
That's all you need is one time because it's addictive. It just seduces you. It calls you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one, somebody will even lend you your dice, so it adds to the catchphrase, the first one's free.
Yep.
Dude, I've seen it work because I have DMs who have dice ready for anybody who shows up, and they go, "Here, a gift."
You always got to put them in water to see if they float. If they
You just inspired me. I want to get dice that are the same color as a yellow raincoat and red balloons. You'll float too. Just
nice. All the Georgie dice.
Yeah, the Georgie dice. I love it.
I once brought a blow-up dice to a D&D session, and they wouldn't let me officially roll it. Because they're like, well, no, it floats and it's really light and it won't actually give an accurate reading. I'm like, what are you talking about? It has numbers on it, damn it.
Yeah, it rolls.
Yeah.
I got my first dice at the indie art show. Ralph helped me buy them. So yeah,
I got it. The art show, and Tony's like, "Dude, Ralph, what kind of dice should I get?" It doesn't matter what dice you get.
Oh, but it does. You have to get the prettiest dice.
See, no. That's what happens after the first set of dice.
That's right.
So
after the first set of dice, and when you start going,
the strongest dice, that's what you need to pick.
Of course, when I went to go get them, they all fell out of the bag.
yeah,
that's the problem with the dice. All of them.
Yeah,
how pretty they are.
They're like $20. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like, we're not going to show ourselves off. Yeah, my wife and I used to own a store here in town, so we sold that stuff. And then a friend of mine would make these giant cardboard dice that were about the size of a basketball, and we would sell those. And we also had a dice game that we would use in the store, but also at cons, where we had just a bowl of assorted dice. Ooh. And you could roll it, and it was one of those you win every time, but it's like, it was a D10, so you'd either win 1 dice or 10 dice, and you pay like $2. And people love that. Like, they would spend forever just rummaging through the random dice, trying to see which. Especially if they won 10, then they were like, "Oh, I'm going to make the most of this." So yeah, we were heavily into that one in the store.
Stay at your table.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the goal.
By the way, as long as you're there doing this dice thing, why don't you buy a book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't
Based
you?
on D&D.
Yeah, no. Well, back then we sold actual D&D, so so it was real easy to get them over there. Had a friend who made custom dice bags. I mean, it was fun. It was legit.
That's what my wife wants to actually make. Start making dice bags. Because she does all the sewing. She does sewing and everything, so she wants to start making them.
These games will buy pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get like the hook ones and everything. So I think that'd be neat.
That'd be awesome.
Have you guys considered? Because I know some Kickstarters do that, where they have a special dice set for their campaign.
I've actually looked at like the beer dice. I know there's a company that they do beer dice where you can put like your logo and other stuff on them. I've looked at them and it seems it's actually it's pretty inexpensive, so it's definitely something to consider.
Well, even Chessex, the big company that does all the D&D stuff, like they offer it. We just never made it to that point to where we wanted to pay to have it done. But yeah, there's definitely some options out there.
Because it is adding to the campaign, and people, don't understand. And I gotta say, I'm gonna start off with you because I see that you put your funding goal at 300, and I'm like, whoa. Here's the question, because I always see these slow goals, and I have to ask the question: what do you actually need for this to happen? Because I know you did the 300, and you can get it funded and see where you can go.
Well, here's the way. I mean, because I did a lot of research and learning before I came to Kickstarter, right? And so it was like you can go one of two ways with it. It's either you can pick your number, which is pretty much arbitrary unless you're really just going to come up with whatever the number is for the low print run,
right? Which
that definitely covers a low print run. Or you can go the opposite way, which is the more of the Hail Mary for some people, especially even you, and that's I'm going to ask for everything I put into this book and try to get it back in one go.
I've seen those
yeah, and I just didn't see, when we set out to do this, the money that we had was money that rolled over from the sale of our store. So thankfully our company's about to hit 11 years next month. So thankfully, it was funny story was the only time it was not it was other money was when we had just gotten married and we had some leftover wedding money. We had like $1,500, and that's what we did to buy our first set of inventory. And it's snowballed over the years since then. It's gone up and down, and but our goal was always to not use our own money for this stuff, right? And so now, making comics is expensive for those who don't know. It is but once you get the comic done, then it's your choice of how soon do I want to make this back? Am I ever going to make this back, or is that money just an investment of something that I always wanted to do? And there's a lot of questions to answer. And so to come back to yours, even when we did our last Kickstarter, we were just like, we're just going to put the logo because the book is done. That was the first for the last Kickstarter and this Kickstarter, is that we don't come to Kickstarter until the book is done,
right? Because
we don't want people to be wondering if they're going to get it, because we're still the new kids on the block. And so the low goal is just like, okay, well, we just basically need help printing this thing, and that's why this time I feel like I did a better job of setting up those stretch goals to where the stretch goals will take us closer and closer to what was the actual cost to create this thing, but there's a lot of this too that I don't mind playing the long game, and that, like I have a con coming up this weekend, and then a couple more in succession into April.
Right.
And I know that that'll feed into this too. So Kickstarter is just one of several avenues to try to, get this out there and make some money back, if not all of it, eventually.
I got to say, the more I work on my book and the closer I get to going into Kickstarter, the more I'm like, I don't understand how you guys do any of what you're doing. Because, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the process, and I'm going, I can't even shell out this much money for this. So that means that I have to add it on to the Kickstarter. But then when you start doing the math, like you were saying, in order to make the book happen, then you got to have a certain goal. And then you're like, that sounds like a crazy goal there. But if you do it lower than that, then you can't get the book to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The chances are you're going to start out losing money at the beginning anyway. And so,
That's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow.
You know, I don't think it's a problem if you can get the cash, but I feel like if you're relying on the Kickstarter to get the cash so that you can make the book, then you're in trouble.
It's easier just to finish the book and then do the Kickstarter. It's like that takes so much stress off of you.
Yeah.
So.
Because I've seen it before where you know, you get the Kickstarter starts off and they're like, oh, this is the money we need to pay the artist, and I you know, it's good, it's a great idea, it makes sense, it's what Kickstarter's for. But then, you know, you're paying the artist right off the bat, you're at least at the lowest to fund will be about 2,500 or so, depending on how many pages you have in the book. And I'm sitting there going, damn, that's a high goal already. That's just to pay the artist. It's not even the first one. And I was like, I came on this show today going, because I'm doing all this math and I'm going through the stuff and I'm trying to figure out how the books are going to be. And I'm like, I feel like we need to talk about this a little bit more, because I think people don't understand what happens when you're creating a comic book.
Yeah, it's just a choice. Like you got to decide how you're going to go into this, you know. I mean, heck, I have a friend who does Kickstarter, but he does comics, but he also does board games. He kickstarted his board game 3 times before it was successfully funded. You know, and so you want to talk about, you know, dealing with your internal talk and, you know, do I try this again? How many times do I want to fail? You know, how many times do I want people to quote that saying about the light bulb to me? You know, how many times, you know, it's just a choice. I mean, I've seen people that don't fund the first time and they're done. They're like, yeah, I can't take this. That was stressful. I'm like, yes, it is. I'm only on day 3 and it was just stressful because I'm like, come on, let's get to that second stretch goal. And it's like, because your mind switches. It's like, okay, we passed the stress of funding. We funded. Yeah. Now the stress of,
which is a huge relief.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And that's part of the strategy of, if you can have a lower goal, then why not do it? I mean, if you can't, then you have no choice but to set it to whatever it is the number that you need. So
even then, like kickstarting board games and like D&D books and everything, like people are very hesitant about that kind of stuff because they'll look at it and be like, okay, well, who are you? And are you actually going to give us the book, you know? So,
especially automatically, you know, when it comes to D&D and D&D books and all that stuff, you're not paying the usual stuff that you do with comic book where it's like 10, 20, 30 bucks. With those books, they're big books. You start getting 50, 60, 70 bucks just to get the campaign book.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a good analogy to this. If you're getting some well-established comic book off the shelf at your LCS, this is the equivalent to McDonald's. It's consistent no matter where you go. The cost is low because it's in mass production and they've refined their product. When you go into indie, it's the equivalent of a Chinese food restaurant. You're paying for the experience. They're all different, and you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. So it's very adventurous, and you have a rough. I want to read a comic book, you know that, but in regards of where the flavor goes, it's surprising in a lot of ways, pleasantly surprising. So when you go into indie, you're not feeling a Big Mac. You're really feeling the heart and soul of what somebody's creating, as opposed to something that's getting mass produced and got to make the monthly quota of I got to get this issue out. Is it a filler issue or is it a critical issue? For indie, you're not ever worried about if it's a filler issue. You're worried about, or you're not worried. You're looking forward. What type of passion are they putting into this?
Exactly.
Yeah. You're also just, you're not worrying about like reboots or anything like that. You're just going to get that book. And
or 60 years worth of lore leading up to it.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Or like the 60 years of lore that they reference in this one little panel. And they're like, that's just everything. And you're like, oh.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Tom Hutchison in the chat from Big Dog Inc. He says cat girls for the win.
You gotta say cat girl.
I can tell you've talked with him before.
Oh, we have, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Tom, we're friends. Actually, Tom lives like Tom lives like an hour and a half from me.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we've had lunch before together. And
Dude,
everything,
we've
so-
known him for a long time. We've known him since we were bitten apple in the cons.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah, I just met him
Wow.
at Big Texas Comic Con back in October. I got Ben Dunn to do a special piece that has Malia and it has Critter, and Malia standing like this, and she goes, "Whenever I grow up, I want to be just like you," or something like that. So,
No, Tom's a good guy. He's fun. We
He is
we hang,
great.
Ray and I hang out with him on Mondays.
with Carissa's
With
podcast.
oh,
Buddy,
yeah, that's
just
where, okay, that's
before-
where I've seen Chad.
Yeah, that's that crazy party. I put it on. I put
Yeah.
it on in the background, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on?"
It's funny.
Oh,
Just before we started streaming here, Chad shared the link for everybody to watch, and I put underneath it, "Only the cool kids allowed."
Mhm.
Nobody named Tom, obviously, and I tagged Tom in it. But the funny part is, you saw what he commented there. He didn't comment under his Facebook. He commented under Big Dog Inc. So
Exactly.
actually, regardless of whether it's intentional or not, he actually loopholed me. I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're metagaming.
Yes, yes. That was
You
a
know-
spite post.
Andrew is talking because Andrew's a map maker, and he actually helps create games, and he's been doing it for a while. He's also an artist. He's a great guy. My map went full grand now. I used to charge $150, which says a lot by itself. Map
Wow.
art for gaming and board games are really high.
Oh God, yeah.
I've launched games before. When we launch games, it was a niche market, and indie games are risky. Boss Rush 21XX TTRPG is now Bronx Award, which is the game he helped launch.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, I actually I ordered. I don't know if any of you guys. I'm a huge Chew fan. Like I love Rob Gilroy's Chew or John Lehman's Chew. I
Mhm.
ordered the role playing game book back in like
nice.
2020, and I'm still waiting on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I gotta
I know-
say, I was gonna say, I gotta say that's the longest wait I have for my Kickstarters.
Same.
I've gotten 3 different games from Kickstarter, and all of them took at least 2 to 3 years.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID knocked back a couple of them too.
that's
I think the one that I got that didn't take the longest was the Odd Side, the Cafe Rush card game. That
Right.
only took like 6 months for me to get. I was actually pleasantly surprised because I was like, oh damn, I thought I would have forgotten about this by now, but it showed right up at my door. I'm like, hey, just in time for the holidays.
Did you
Yeah.
see any advertisements for that one that just ended? It was called A Place for All My Books.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, I did.
They
Yeah.
hit a million. We backed that one, but they're promising it by August, so we'll see
Wow.
on that
Wow.
one. Yeah.
I dude, I gotta tell me if it happens, because I've yet to
Okay.
see anybody who can actually do it that quickly, unless the book's already there, you know.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I said, like the fastest thing I've gotten was from Hit Point Game, but that's because it was their card game part of the game, you know, and it's a little easier to get the card game out there than it is to get the books and stuff.
hmm
Yeah, that's why I don't really back games all that much anymore, especially video games. I don't back video games at all.
Yeah.
Any
No.
particular reason?
Because you might not get it. Like
Yeah.
I've watched videos about like just scammers on there of them, or they'll like sink the money into something else, or they overpromised, under-delivered.
hmm
So
Yeah,
Like, what was
I've heard
that?
a couple of those. Yeah,
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 the Mighty Number 9 thing is a big deal.
Yeah. Yep, the Mighty Number 9. What was it? That Starfield or Starlink or something?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? I know that one, and then there was a couple of others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I backed Bloodstained. I got that. That one came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my best friends works for Gearbox, and he's always talked about that he actually is the one I helped. He kickstarted his comic book last year, and he's going to do more this year. But he's like, yeah, it's so much easier, faster, less stressful for him to art direct a comic book than it is to be part of a game,
yeah.
Right.
and then even less so to try to bring it to Kickstarter because of everybody else who's had bad experiences.
Yeah, and I know like Tales of Fate. I know that one came out. That one I think just got a physical version. I think didn't Hollow Knight? Isn't that also a Kickstarter game?
I think it was. I think it was.
I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, that I love that game so much, and we're
Dude,
never getting
they went all out there to make sure that game came out.
And it didn't. It was interesting too. They only got like what 56,000 or like 56,000 for that game. So they didn't really make well. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but they didn't make as much as others do, you know. So, and that
It's
game.
It's funny that you say that that it's a lot of money, but when it comes to games, video games, role playing games, that is not a lot of money.
No, I'm saying it's a lot of money to me.
Just
to me.
6,000 is a lot of money to me.
No, I know that. Like, yeah, like that's not a lot of money, like to develop a video game and everything, and that's why I'm like, where the hell is Silk Song? And you know, I'm still waiting on that game.
You have to just know off the bat that it's a risk factor when you're doing
it's
the
video game. And it's so sad though because there's so many beautiful looking games out there. Like I constantly, either on my feed or in my email, I'm constantly getting, hey Ralph, check out this. We're working on this, and I'm like, and then you never hear about it again. You're like, oh man, that's sad because that looked really good.
What was that other one? That Sea of Tales or Sea something? The 4-player platformer. I forgot what it was called, but that one I know came out, and that one got a sequel actually. That one didn't even need a Kickstarter again. That one just released a sequel on its own, so I was happy.
Good for them.
Yeah, but again, this goes back to my point of Hollow Knight, Silk Song. We're never getting that game.
No, like video games and movies and anything like that. Like if you fund the first one, it's it's expected that the second one you do on your own, that you don't do another campaign because people are like, oh come on, like I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I guess it also depends on like how popular the game gets.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to make the cheapest video game possible where using the cursors on your keyboard, you move a pixel around. And then just to break the rule, I'm going to charge it for $1 so it's funded on Kickstarter. And then I'm going to make a sequel on Kickstarter again.
You know what, though? I guarantee you that would actually do pretty well. And yes,
I
think it was, was it Sea of Thieves? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, that's what Andrew's saying, Sea of Thieves.
No, it's not Sea of Thieves, but that that is one of the. I don't think that was a Kickstarter game though.
See, but if Andrews brings something up here, it's sad because banks will not loan you the money for like an indie game.
You got to establish yourself. That's why. Risk versus loss.
Make a game.
No, see, the bank will loan you the money if you can afford it. If you can't afford it,
if I can afford it, I don't need to loan money. That system always bugs me out.
I worked in that system for 10 years up until COVID, so trust me, you're preaching to the choir on that one.
That's like when you're looking for a job and they go, you need experience. I'm like, how do I get the experience?
Vicious circle.
All right, Joseph, tell us all about Malia. There you go, Malia.
So Malia is she's a character that me and my wife came up with when we had our store. She was the mascot of our store, and she's basically my wife as a kid because my wife loves cosplay. She loves tabletop games. She loves going to Comic-Cons. That's why I married her. And so we made up this character, and we actually had this, little loose origin story for her when we had the store. And back then, the idea was always to do a comic for her, but I was too busy selling other people's comics back then that I never had time and never pursued how to actually get it done. So then, fast forward, we in COVID, we had our son, and, being isolated so much, finally had time on my hands, and one of my best friends approached me to do an unrelated comic that we had planned since college. So we got that one out, and then Malia came about a year after, and this one has been in the works. I was looking at the contract with the original artist because we have to get another one. This one's been in the works for almost 3 years now. I want to say February. Yeah, 3 years when we signed the contract with the first artist.
I'm actually happy
So-
you said that because a lot of people think that this just happens. It's like,
No,
oh, it's a comic,
no.
and it just happens.
No, and it was just one of those things that unfortunately the original artist had some bad things in his life and happened, and it just kind of just didn't work out. And thankfully after that, I found our new artist Carla Diaz. She's actually out of Chile. She's the one who's all of the art you see here is hers, and she was able to help us get that Zero issue out. We didn't kickstart that one. It was part of our previous Kickstarter, but it was just it was like a collection. But we did that one out at cons and whatnot, and it's been pretty popular, especially since it's an all ages book. I updated our covers here because whenever parents see that, they're like so relieved. I literally had one mom come up to me and be like, "Oh, thank God these are safe for my kids." I'm like,
Dude, I gotta say, Joe, that's how I ran into you because it popped up on my feed and I was like, "What's this?" It was Malia, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." Then I started chasing Joe, going, "Hey, come on the show, hey."
I know. I told you I hadn't been pursued like that since my wife, so I was flattered. But yeah, she's a 9-year-old girl that finds a magical D20 at a Comic-Con, and it takes her to a world where all her favorite board games come to life, and she has to stop this mischievous creature called Troll who's trying to like destroy the games from the inside out. And what he's doing in the real world is affecting games. I'm sorry, in the game world, it's affecting the real world. So that's where we came up with the idea that whenever somebody's like, "Oh, this game is broken," well, it's because Troll's messing with the game. And so Malia has to stop him. And the hook is that whatever game she's in, she has to follow the rules of that game. So if it's like D&D where there's fighting, she can use spells and whatnot. But if she goes into a game like in the one for issue 1 where it's based on like Settlers of Catan where there is no fighting, then she has to find other ways to stop him. And so that was kind of the fun aspect of, we could homage some of our favorite games with each issue, and we could kind of come up with these scenarios, of how to stop him. So, but yeah, it's been something that we've been just working hard to get out there, and issue 1's finally done, and now it's just a matter of seeing how it does on Kickstarter. And like I mentioned earlier, we got a row of local cons, all family friendly stuff. One's at a high school, one's at a library, one's a family friendly Comic-Con. So like just to see how it does. I mean, Zero's done really well, so hoping issue 1 will do just as well.
And the artwork is fantastic.
Yeah, I love the artwork.
Oh yeah, Carla's amazing. Like I found her just by chance. I was looking through DeviantArt and I typed in like anime art or something like that, and she had actually done a mini series with Dark Horse for Adam Warren's comic Empowered. It was called Empowered Soldier of Love. It was a 3-issue series, so I saw her artwork there, and at first I was afraid to reach out. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to know how much she is," but she's actually pretty affordable. She does everything from pencils all the way to color. So that I couldn't say no to, because it's easier to just work with the one person than to have to pass it off. So yeah, and she the funny thing about her is, I mean, she's heavily influenced by anime. Like she said, she grew up reading manga and stuff that was more readily available in Chile than comics were. But the funny thing is she doesn't really do board games. So there's certain things about this that I've had to like kind of walk her through and explain to her, because it's a whole different thing. Like if you don't play board games, you're not going to get some of the in jokes and whatnot. But I tried to not make it so heavy on the in jokes that only board gamers would understand it. So hopefully I succeeded.
I think you've done a good job. The little bits and pieces I've gotten to check out and read, it feels like you're not gatekeeping. You're just letting the audience drop in and get going.
Mm-hmm. Well, good, because that was my goal.
I got to say, your price point is pretty good too.
Oh, thanks. And I tried to sweeten the deal by putting that everybody gets a copy of issue 0 with that pledge.
Fantastic,
So you're actually getting 2 comics for that price. It was just one of those, like, I went round and round because issue 0 is only 12 pages and issue 1 is 24, more traditional. I went round and round about, should I combine these? And, I was just like, you know what, I'll just put it as a package. It's more so because me and my friends who are doing Kickstarter, we go round and round about this, about the price point, because I'm like, well, $10 for a comic on Kickstarter is not unusual, right? But I have to think about that parent at the Comic-Con. Are they going to look at this and be like, why is this $10? Because like Malia 0 at Comic-Cons is $5, and I can, even with the rising prices, thankfully I was able to keep it at $5, because that one's the more, like, when I tell them about it, I'm like, oh, if your kid wants to try it, this one's only $5, and so we designed that for that one and for another one we have coming out, because that's the mentality I have to keep, is like, who's the audience and what are they willing to pay for,
Is there a way to make it that it's cheaper? Because I thought before that if you go back to newsprint, it'd be cheaper, but then I heard that it's harder to do newsprint now.
Yeah, not a lot of places do newsprint anymore, which sucks because I love newsprint. But anyway,
you're talking about newsprint like that traditional, really thin.
Oh yeah, the traditional classic stuff. You spell the comic
like Vertigo used to do.
Yeah. No, I've never even seen that option anywhere.
Anything early 90s or older?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was, the paper was cheaper, and then and then you start hearing the complaints. Oh, the paper is more expensive, so I'm raising the prices, and I'm like, okay, so how do you make it cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard that you can't do newsprint because it's actually more expensive if you do, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a game. Yeah, and like I said, it's just trying to consider the audience. Like I was saying earlier, like $10 for a book on Kickstarter is pretty normal as far as what I've seen, But like I said, I just decided to throw that in to try to sweeten the deal a little bit.
It's like, I want marshmallow dice now.
Yeah, I want marshmallow dice.
Now I'm thinking about marshmallow dice.
I like how each shape has its own color and flavor as well.
Oh,
Just like a pack of Lucky
Exactly.
Charms.
yeah, officially, who did that cover? We actually have a recording of his stream, because he streams his art, and we had so much fun that night. Me and my wife were on there with him, and he's the one who came up with the different types of marshmallows, and we were just joking about how, like, if you left this cereal out and it started getting dry, man, that purple one would stab you in the top of your mouth, just like. But no, he knocked it out of the park with that. I mean, we were talking about all the different.
Great. It almost looks like it's an actual cereal box.
Mm-hmm. He even made a version that has the worn edges. I'm not sure what to do with it yet. I might offer a special.
Hey,
that
sounds like a nice little incentive. Go get the special print.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to do a test print first, because I want to make sure that the printer gets it, that it has to be on the edge. I didn't want to, I didn't want to get the file and it's like right here, and so I just wanted to make sure before I offered it to the public. So
I would hate if all the dice had different flavors, but also the cereal had different flavors, like the parts, and it's just like the most confusing mess I've ever tasted.
It's all sugar anyway. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Flavors.
This is like the idea of a strawberry, like it's just like
Strawberry-esque.
right.
Yeah. Oh no!
Like
What is it?
toy.
That Walmart has that one called. You can't call it shredded cheese. It's called cheese product. I'm like, oh my god, this is scary.
Like the Velveeta.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm just imagining like M&Ms or Smarties mixed into like Skittles, and not knowing, just
Oh,
I would kill like that. Would be my villain.
People have done that
origin
before.
story.
They mixed them together. And you're like,
we'll add some Skittles to sweeten the deal.
Uh-huh.
no, keep it separate.
Every Gemini mailer, I'll put some Skittles.
They're slightly melted.
Where's my?
We put in one handful of faux soup for everybody.
Right. Everybody gets one scoop of melted cheese.
Comes free with the soup.
I gotta say, this is some cover here.
So yeah, so this cover is a friend of ours. His name is Freddie Lopez. He's just down in San Antonio, 30 minutes from us, and he's been around for a while. He's done stuff in comics. He's done stuff in gaming and card games, and yeah, he's got that amazing style there. He did some pieces that we sold in our store. I don't have it to show, but one of my favorite pieces he did is called Goblin Party, and it's literally just a bunch of goblins hitting a piñata because it's Goblin Party, and so that's his kind of his sense of humor. Well, we're all part of the same convention circuit down here. We made friends with him. He gave this to us as fan art, and I was like, when he sent it to me, I'm like, dude, you're kidding me, right? This is not fan art. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I love y'all's book. He's like, here, do what you want with this. And I'm like, okay, and it's going to be a cover, And so, and he actually came on. We did a launch party video, and he kind of talked about it. I mean, his influence is heavy D&D stuff. I think he said he was working on something right now that was doing a lot of D&D weaponry and stuff, so that's why he got inspired to give Malia the energy sword, because I was like, yeah, I hadn't even thought that far ahead in like ideas of when I would ever give Malia a sword. And then he did it coming out of the D20, and he just said he was inspired to do the troll coming out of the darkness in the back. So it's a little scarier than the other ones. It's funny because that's what my 4-year-old, he saw this one, and he was like, that's a scary troll. I'm like, because he knows all the characters because he sees me working on it all the time. And I had to scroll quickly. I'm like, oh, here's the cartoony troll. It's okay. But yeah, he just did amazing on that.
Out of Saturday morning cartoon.
Do what?
This was straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh yeah. No, we were talking about that. I mean, that's the inspiration for Malia is like, it's one part the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 80s, and one part Never Ending Story is the other half. This one is an artist up in the other direction from us in Austin, named Ben Bender, and yeah, he had that kind of Calvin and Hobbes style, and so I just asked him, this was a while back, for him to do this cover, and this one just came out a lot of fun.
This is really cute. It's a great style.
yeah
very Calvin and Hobbes, I would say.
No, that's what he was going for. He's got a web comic he does called The Littlest Viking, and it's got that same style.
I know the Littlest Viking. Okay.
but yeah.
Scott McCloud does like all those cartoony covers for like superhero comics. They're really cute.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So we just wanted something fun with that one.
I have a feeling the kids are gonna love this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we used that cover on the previous Kickstarter, and I sold out of that one. So I was like, oh, we're definitely bringing that cover back. Just under Malia now. And this last one's actually a local friend of ours. She's an artist and a cosplayer. She used to come to our store a lot, and she was working on her art. And I'm like, hey, you want to like have an official cover on a comic? And she was like, heck yeah. And it's so funny because she's so hard on herself. This cover's like 2 years old at this point by the time I finally launched. And she was on the launch party that night, and she's like, I am so critiquing myself right now. I'm like, hey, it's fine. I'm like, we all got to start somewhere. So I think she did a good job.
Yeah, it looks good.
But yeah, we just thankfully, because this took so long to launch, we ended up with 5 covers, which was not the original plan, but it allows me to do stuff like this. Like I did one of these on the last Kickstarter, where I call it all the covers plus all the swag, where basically just build up just stuff over time. Like you can see, we got a magnet there, got a keychain, a couple of different stickers, a button. Just
I gotta say, like a lot of campaigns, $49. You're lucky if you get 2 books.
Yeah, well, that one I tried to still leave some sort of discount, and on top of that, you're getting all that stuff. So, and there's only there's a limited amount of those. So, once those are gone, they're gone.
I would limit it to at $49.
It was more based on the swag because I can only get so much of each kind at a time.
Okay.
The add-ons, of course, you can put any cover you want. Malia Zero there in the corner only has the one version of that cover. And then after that should be the the blank sketch covers, which those I just got as a test last year when we were still using Comics Wellspring. They had a pretty decent sale, so I was like, I'm gonna pick up some of those and see how they do. And they did okay at the cons. There's actually been a few people have picked them up on the Kickstarter so far, so that's actually worked out pretty good.
Dude, this is a fantastic little book to do something with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the 0 issue, so that's only the 12-pager one. So it can be offered at a cheaper price. It can be mailed pretty much anywhere because it's not that heavy. So.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, this sticker sheet came out really good. It's just different. This is all, with the exception of the logo in the middle, which has been updated. Everything else is stuff that's held over from our store. Because that one of her jumping was a T-shirt that we would sell in the store. The one there with her, the military helmet, there was a Veterans Day event we did. Her there in the chair in the swimsuit is the summer camp we did for kids. Like that's a little block of history of our store right there. That's what that is.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm. And then these acrylic pins are fun. Just taking that same jumping image, and apparently pins are a big thing. I guess I never got into that, but I noticed a lot of kids at the cons, they'll just have them all over their backpack and whatnot. Now these are acrylic. I know there's those fancier ones out there. Gosh, what are they? What's that material called?
Enamel.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm a pin collector. I know.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I couldn't get the enamel ones done, unfortunately.
Well, it makes sense. Those are expensive.
Yeah.
That's why they cost so much to buy. Which is why I avoid them.
I like this funding bar. This is nice and sharp looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, unique.
Thanks. Yeah, I wanted something fun. I tried something like this in the last campaign, and I couldn't settle on something that looked good. But this one came out pretty good.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, I just updated it today with 1,000. If it gets past 2,300, it'll be a pleasant problem to figure out if I just make another one or
a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So we've got the bookmarks on hand. We've got the postcard. That was another artist I found on DeviantArt. Thought her style was pretty cool. So I like to have Malia different. Now that one at the bottom was kind of a last minute thing. So in issue 1, so Malia is being led to each world by this mysterious character just simply called the Game Master.
Mm-hmm.
And they manifested this card to show her, well, this is what what the powers of what your D20 can do in this world. Well, our letterer actually made that because, like I mentioned earlier, our artist, she's not really a board gamer. So she was like, I don't really know how to do a card. So she just gave me literally a blank card with the text. So I asked the letterer, I'm like, well, can you do something? And she's like, well, I can do something simple, be this price, or I can do a more elaborate card, I'm like, just show me what simple is. And that's her simple. I was like, wow, like that looks like a legit card. So, and then she gave me the file and I was like, well, heck, let's just make this a stretch goal. All I got to do is add the back.
I gotta say, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "We got to get to the stretch goal."
Hey, it's possible. We're already halfway there. So, because I've noticed a lot of what I know. Everybody has their different stats. I guess they watch their Kickstarters live. One stat I like to watch is the people who are hitting the remind me button. Which is shown under the followers. Of course, you have to memorize what you started at. Which I think we were at 164 when we started, and now we're at 187 on the followers. So that means 20 some odd people have hit remind me. So yeah, so that's always encouraging because I'm that way. Like I will hit remind me, and I will literally wait until I get that email. You've got 2 days left to bed. Give me back, you know. And so I'm okay with that. When other people are doing it to me, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, hopefully you'll see that email.
Because I get it. Sometimes you just don't have the money. Because there are times where I'll sit there with a Kickstarter and I'm like, okay, if this money comes in, then I can do this.
Yeah, well, this one is also a test too, because I started this Kickstarter in the middle of February and it's going to end in the middle of March. I did the previous Kickstarter starting, you know, from the 1st to the 30th or whatever it was, you know, and being an ex-banker, I know when paychecks come in. I know all that, you know, I know how much time it takes for all that. So I this one, I think I lined it up because of some. I think because the anniversary of our company is on the 14th, and I know there's some other shows we're going to be on before then. So it was more kind of lining it up with that. But we'll see overall in the end, you know, if that was a good thing to do or not.
You know, March is good. That's around then when people start getting their tax return money. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. So, but yeah, see our team. We got, you know, Carlos from Chile, our letter. Oh yeah, that's Fish. He's the one that did the cereal cover.
Of course, it's Fish.
Yes, we love Fish Lee.
And he did it fast too, right?
I mean, yeah, we're in the time that we were sitting there. I mean, yeah, that's our friend Freddie. That's Kayla. Like I mentioned, he was a cosplayer. There's Ben. You can see snippets of his book in that image in the background. Or I put a link there to it, but I mean it's an old Kickstarter, but it's still there if you want to look at it. But anyway, yeah, I mean everything else is just the standard stuff, the shipping, the surveys. We're going to use a different printer this time because Comics Wellspring has just had too many changes.
Right.
It seems like they're taking too long. They're definitely more expensive now than when I first started using them. So we're going to be using Kablam. They're out of Florida, and we used them several times last year for reprinting stuff for conventions and whatnot. So they're pretty fast.
Kablam!
Yeah. In fact, I just got the stuff today, which will be ready for the con for the weekend. So
there we go. Yeah, folks, this looks fantastic. You should go check it out. What I'm going to do is make it easier because I already know somebody's going to be sitting there going, Ralph, I don't want to go look for it, you know.
That's the actual voice, too.
It is.
Yes. Real talk.
And the person out there knows who I'm making fun of. And they're constantly telling me, Ralph, you need to stop. I'm like, nobody knows who you are.
Is that not like the Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon routine?
Yeah. Reminds me of that song. I bet you think this song is about you.
Oh, no. That's what I did in the beginning. He's like, oh, that's me, Ralph. I'm like, damn, you're conceited. Yeah, I'm an ass, folks.
Correction. It's Scotty Young who does those cartoony comics.
Oh, yeah.
Scott McCloud likes the books, Understanding Comics.
I gotta say, I like Scotty Young's covers and all the little things he does. I like that style.
They made figures. They made figures of a few of them too. They're really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It tastes like you're so vain. Oh my god.
Well, there's your next Kickstarter. You're so vain. I bet you think this Kickstarter's about you.
Oh my god. Chad, your
Hello.
turn. Go for it.
Go for what?
I don't know. What are you here for?
Fun.
Oh. Was I supposed to bring my Kickstarter link with me?
This?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm Chad. I write Set the Hook, which is a supernatural horror noir comic. It's about a man who's very angry at a fish after it murdered his father. So he is hunting down this fish to seek out his revenge. So it's a fun romp. It's bloody. It's sexy. This one is the Wet and Wild comic. What?
That's funny. It's just you got me.
I mean, that's what it is. it is a 4-issue miniseries, so the third one is right around the corner. So hopefully that'll be done by the end of the year. But yeah, so that's this book. I am short, literally, and also sweet and simple with my stuff. C. Michael Lanning does the main covers, and then the artist is Tim Sparvero. He is the main art. He is the artist on this. It's kind of funny. He's actually the husband of Andrea Montano, who did Blue Lullabies art. So yeah, so my first book, so it kind of came full circle when he was like, I want to draw fish creatures, and I'm like, okay. The twist of this book, I should get into that, is Hell's aquarium flooded onto the earth, and now fish creatures and people now live together. And fish people are just like fish demon people are like just regular people. Like, this is the world that they live in. So this one follows Ginger, his partner, and Otis Yassi Barrett, which is the main character. They are in a fish strip club. So that's where this finding where this killer fish is, it leads them to a strip club with jellyfish boobs and vampire squid boobs. Lots of fish boobs. So yeah, this is actually the first booby book that I've done, and I don't like labeling it as this, but the second issue I kind of have to because it has boobs in it. I
gotta say, I would not consider this a booby book, even though it does have boobies.
Jellyfish boobs are safe for work. I think you're good.
Yeah, no, I mean this is the only book that has nudity. It has a pole dancing jellyfish, so yeah. But I have Valerie Ike. And yeah, you guys think I'm joking, but I'm not. But
I've read it.
Whether you're joking or not, it's funny.
Yeah, no, it is. Oh no, it's hilarious. She's also in the second arc too, so she's sticking around. I have Valerie Ike and Quinn Rowandex, who did this artwork. Quinn Rowandex did the coloring for this one, and then Valerie Ike did the inks. So this is a hand colored. Nice poker.
It does look hand colored. Okay.
It is hand colored, yeah. So this is.
Sometimes you can't tell, but you can actually tell. But I think it gives it the charm.
Yeah, yes. That's actually what I really liked about her style when I checked her out. Mm-hmm. I actually was like, hey, I need a colorist, and she's like, hi. I'm like, okay. So that's how usually I pick people, is that they're like, hey, I want to do this. I'm like, okay. Jared Lockhart did the tentacle cover for us, so that one was a lot of fun. Jared is kind of getting into doing covers, so I was like, hey, I like finding new people. I know Valerie Ike was recommended to me by Carissa, but I decided to get Jared Lockhart to do a cover for me as well. So yeah,
I love the colors. They really pop.
Thank you. And then I have the very sexy one by Warren Brown, which there's the jellyfish, there's Slippery Belle. She is I love Warren Brown's art style because it reminds me of like old black and white like cartoon rubber hose animation.
Yeah,
so I really like his stuff. So I was like, hey, you did a Sparkle Dog cover for me, I want you to do a Set the Hook cover for me for issue 2.
Brings a whole new concept to the term slip and slide.
Yes, that's why her name's Slippery Belle. Aren't you paying attention?
Oh, I am.
Okay, good. She slips on.
If you remember the movie Howard the Duck, like when they're in Duck World,
yes.
There's scene where the woman's in the shower and her feathers and her nipples are out. And you're like, It's one of those. Is this adult or not? Like it's.
Yep.
It's funny.
Oh, Howard the Duck. That was the very first Marvel movie ever.
Oh, yeah, you beat me to it. I just about to say.
You know what's really sad too? A couple of years ago, and it's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Like back then, yeah. But now that you watch it, it's like, oh. And then this is the Not Safe for Work cover. This is my co-owner of Rolling Squid Bones Comics. She's an oil painter, but she wanted to do a digital cover, so she did a Ginger nude cover. So on the pole dancing. So this is her first comic cover that she ever wanted to knock out, and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do this. So
yeah, let's do it. Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try this. I like this one because she got to just kind of be herself with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, cool.
It has a pop to it.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, because it's like you got all this color, and the character itself just really pops on the cover, and the way she colored it.
Oh yeah, and she does hyper realistic oil paintings. So, and this is all digital, but
You kind of get a feeling of it here, yeah.
Yeah. So, yep. Oh yeah, and then I have Blake Matthias's Otis pole dancing. Very. I always get him to draw the really weird and uncomfortable stuff.
I like the hook on his underwear. That's just right. That's good.
When you showed this to me, I was like, "Hell yeah, give it to me." He did a print for me of Otis as the Little Mermaid, like screaming in the ocean. After he did that, I was just like, "Hey, I want you to do a variant cover for me." And he's like, "Here you go." I'm like, "God damn it." So we have the ginger pole dancing, and now a slippery belt, and we have Otis. So collect them all.
Oh my god.
Chad, have you ever heard of a cartoon called Pleasure Island? It's by a YouTube channel known as Greasy Tales.
Probably.
Sounds familiar.
That last Otis cover reminds me of the main character from that show, known only as the Man Whore.
The Man Whore.
It's amazing.
That sounds like something from that's under the water. The Man Whore.
Yeah.
So this is one that I did that was a little bit different. This is Quinn Rowendex's Ginger selfie variant. This is a limited, only 50 are going to be available. But she's like, "Hey, I want to cosplay as Ginger." I'm like, "Cool. Hey, let's use this as a cover." She's like, "Cool." So we did.
It's a good picture.
Thank you. Yeah. And she was just like, "Hell yeah, I love Ginger. She's a hyperactive little minx." And I'm like, "Yay." But yeah, so she decided to do this. And then if you, as an add-on, there's another photo. There's actually a photo that you can get of her as well. And then here's all my add-ons. You got mini prints, a magnet, stickers, and bookmarks. And this is the fun one. Let's be real here. This is the
total fun one, folks.
Yes,
this is the one you want to get in on.
This is the one we were talking about hitting funding goals. This is one way you can definitely help Chad out here.
Yes, you can. So you can actually 6 creators or whoever. Like, I mean, I don't think Mike is going to complain. Yeah. But you can play D&D with a professional DM, Mike Towson. Ray actually did this for his campaign with Madcap's #1, and then I was like, "Hey, that's really cool." So I did it for Set the Hook #1, and then it was a lot of fun. That's how I met Raph. And then so I decided to bring it back, and I think I'm gonna just continue doing it because it is a lot of fun. But
that's also where Nathan or Nat got a chance to play the vending machine.
Yeah, yes. he actually he's one of the slots. So yeah,
we were discussing this a while ago. We're like, okay, so it's coming up. Is it this campaign off? I'm like, yeah, it's this campaign. All right, let's get in.
Yeah. So there's 4 slots left. So Raph, you got to put in your slot.
Dude, I actually thought I did.
Oh, okay.
Because no. Let me explain this. I actually thought I did. I went and I did all the stuff, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" It said everything went in, and then when I'm looking at it again, it goes 2 people, and I'm like, "No, it should say 3 people."
Oh, you're good. But yeah, so this one, so there's 3 slots left. But everybody should get in on it because it's a ton of fun. It's like a 3-hour game, so it's short and it's just a one-shot.
Oh, dude, it's a blast. Yeah, I gotta say, like, you don't have to be a creative, but the fact that you're playing your character in this campaign is just amazing. With me, it helped me out considerably because sometimes you don't get to get into the skin of your character. And this got me into the skin of the character, and it helped me understand the character in a whole different way.
Yeah, it actually helped me with dialogue a lot, especially with writing Ginger when I played as her the second campaign. Because the first campaign I played as Otis. And that was
fun. Otis was a blast. Yeah.
It's just everybody's like, so let's explore the outside before we go into this mansion. I just kicked down the door. And, let's walk up the stairs and be cautious. I climb up the chimney and go. Like it was hysterical.
That was great. That was a really good time.
it was really good for writing dialogue for her. So you get to get into the skin of your characters.
Yeah.
You just get to have a ton of fun with a bunch of people, and
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to play with a group that lets loose
Yeah.
with it, and you could just like dick around.
Definitely.
So, and you complete, and I say this lovingly, you actually get to complete the campaign while dicking around.
Exactly. I gotta say, Michael Towson is amazing.
So,
dude, he works with you. If he could have Nat play a vending machine,
yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. I
he can help you out. So
I convinced a little girl that her father sucks and she doesn't need him.
A ghost girl.
A ghost girl. Yeah.
You as a bitter alcoholic convinced
Yep.
a ghost girl. You need to
I
find
I gotta
details
say,
on that.
man, Otis, that was such a heartfelt thing that Otis did there. He got the ghost girl to we were all like
Like, what? And then like I come out of it and you're like, hey, what happened? And I'm like, there was a ghost girl here and I talked to her and she left and I don't know. It's like you were supposed to give her to her dad. I'm like, well, now she passed on. So
yeah,
that was good.
Tarzan is fantastic, folks. If you get a chance, sign up for this. You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah. Tom, if
it's
you're
a
listening,
one-shot campaign. It's a lot of fun. It gets done. Yeah. I can't look. I am wordless here. I can't say enough of this. It was so good.
it was great. Tom, if you're listening, go back it. Let's go. Let's go, man.
Yeah, we all need to peer pressure Tom into conforming.
To play D&D.
Conform,
Yes.
Tom. Conform.
Time
Play
for
the game,
conformity.
Tom.
It's not a nerd thing anymore, Tom. You're a nerd if you don't do it.
You can get your cat girl as a character in this D&D game.
Yes.
Ken.
Yeah,
be
Critter
Critter.
can be a D&D character.
Exactly.
What would now? That's an interesting. Depending on the level, what would you? How would you make a Critter? That's a good question.
That is a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say Tabaxi Monk with the feat of telekinetics, so you can sort of push people around because Critter has like low telekinetic abilities.
Just be a mind flayer. Go all out.
Tentacle face.
Tentacle face with cat ears.
I was going to
This
say, I
adds
just
up.
had the image of the Mind Flayer being the one on the stage now. Well,
Well, there are the Cthulhu's, so those are
Yeah.
your mind flayer equivalents.
Oh man.
I love the Cthulhu's.
I like the whole. I won't say too much about it, but in that second issue, when they're talking about, they're reminiscing about Cthulhu. I won't say anything else.
Oh
but
yeah,
it's such a short bit, but that just makes me laugh. That one, especially Ginger doing that imitation. I won't
Yeah.
say anymore, but
it was when I came up with that bit. That was actually a conversation I had with one of my friends. We were talking about Cthulhu, and she's like, "Hey, you know what'd be really funny?" And she brought that up, and I was like, "You know what? This fits right here in this segment." So, and that's the only time Cthulhu is ever referenced. But I had to reference Cthulhu. Like I felt
That'll
like,
be done.
yeah. But that's the only time ever in the entire series. I'm like, that's the only time Cthulhu is going to be referenced. And then I have the Cthulhu's. This one is Hadia. These are some of her paintings.
Wow.
But you can actually get a commission from her. So if you're interested, you can get a custom painting, whatever you want, and she'll do it. So this is this is the big tier. This is the $1,000 one. So
That's a tier.
yeah, and it's 20 by 28, so it's a pretty good size. So her Dark Souls Castle painting, that's like 3 feet tall.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a monster. She hates it. Please, but somebody please buy that thing and get rid of it.
That's because it's so big.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's a nightmare to deal with. But yeah,
It looks good. I like what you
Thank
have here.
thank you. Both of these, the Quinn Row Index original art and then the 2 originals from Tim are gone. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
That says a lot.
Yep.
That says a lot, man. Come on, folks, get in this. You're gonna miss out.
yeah.
Especially if you're doing the D&D thing. Come on, guys.
Come on. And then you got the whole team. So you got me, Chris, the letterer, Tim, the artist, and Wells, the editor. So, because Wells is hysterical. Dealing with him with editing is just like talking, like legitimately, like role playing with characters.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. For the second arc, he's come up with so many hysterical things. Well, I might end up checking out Kablam, by the way, and not Comics Well Springs. But I also live like 45 minutes away from it. So I don't have to pay for shipping.
Oh
I
man,
just drive there.
I love that. It's like, oh, I'll just pick it up. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's what I always do. They're like, hey, do you want this shipped or you pick? I'm like, nah, I'm picking it up.
Yeah, that might offset their increase in price, though. So,
I mean, I don't. Yeah, that's kind of when I did look at the price. It's going to be around the same that I usually pay for printing, just because the shipping's not there. So, but who knows? Also, they might give me. I know they give like 10% off if you have that ad there. So, I don't know if that's worth it, but to me, it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I used it with them, and Kablam offers it too. So it's just.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah, because I was actually checking, but they only allow it on the back cover.
Yeah, that was the only thing. They're definitely more limited in that respect.
Oh man! All right, so our co-host Ray is going to be talking about some of his stuff because you know. And do you have it set up like last time so you can show it off?
I just wanted to show off more. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, don't. That's okay. How about because you're all D&D aficionados, I will. I'll share. What can I share first? How about I share a scene from issue 1, and then I'll talk about some cover art. Does that work, Raph?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's do that. So I'm going to get my. Okay, so hold up here. We have to do this tactfully. Can't all be on one. Of course, we're going to have some ever so mild technical difficulties,
Ray,
which force me to self-narrate over something that's not really happening.
Ray, how many screens do you have?
17 and a half.
Wow.
That is oddly specific.
Yeah, so you know I'm not making that up.
What is Superman doing right now?
Superman? Never you mind. All right, let's do this. Let's share that. I'll go to full screen.
Here's like, these are my nudes.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a scene from issue number 1 that I think anybody that's ever played any tabletop RPG can relate to.
Swear to God, if this is Rick Roll.
We're going to
Actually rolling something.
Yeah. This is Rick, and he's rolling.
I don't think YouTube will let us do that. I don't think we'll get
Oh, they'll probably like knock us out.
There's no sound.
Are you soundless?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we can't have that, can we? You know,
We can. It just doesn't work very well.
All right. Hold on. Share screen. Let's try it one more time. If it doesn't work, I can move on and just look at the art. I am okay with this. Go to a new window.
Just yourself, or are we going to look at it with you?
Well, let's find out. Can you see?
Feel
Black
like
screen?
Wow, this art is beautiful. You're not showing us at all.
Great. It's abstract art.
Well, I mean, there's a visual sculpture.
We got sound?
No
Nope.
sound.
No.
Did you click the little checkbox? Is your browser muted?
Well, that's messed up. You know what? We're just going to go straight to stop sharing.
Okay.
I love how this is working.
We'll just react to
This
his
is a big setup to a Rick roll. Chad just kind of stole my thunder. That's what's happened here. My issue 2 of the Madcaps is launching on April 1st, so it could be a Rick roll. So can you see that art?
Oh,
yeah, it's beautiful. It's awesome. I love it.
There we go.
Oh.
You had me going. Okay,
Damn,
so
I like the
this
other
is-
one better.
this is some pinup art from that was part of issue 1's campaign. We're going to be selling it again. It's an add-on. This was done by Sean Langley, colored by Dan Kemp. I only have a couple other images to show because there's a lot of us, so I'll be concise. This is the main cover to issue number 2. All of my covers, I try to have them something related to the story. So when you look at the cover and open up the book, you actually get something out of it. I try to do that with almost every cover, which I've been almost successful, 100%, not quite, but all the covers are awesome regardless. At the end of issue 1, there's an interception of a couple of smugglers, and after an interrogation, these 4 non-heroes, if you will, are tempted to go and look at this facility where some illegal product is being held and distributed. And when you are dealing with individuals that are doing shady stuff, they're usually going to have hired muscle. Unfortunately, I can't say too much else. They're walking down this path. You can see all the overgrowth. It's seldom used by anybody, not a lot of traffic. Here's one. This is going to be metal foil, and this is just an interpretation of one of the scenes in the book where this dwarf here, his name is Sarlacc, he finds a book. It's a critical item in the story. And one thing about Sarlacc, he's very devout to a deity referred to only as the divine. And although he would never take such glorification as himself in a stained glass window like that, I'm sure there are friends that would look up to him in such respect regardless. So it's kind of a cool little contrast. And again, this stained glass look that was drawn by Jenna Stark, and it's going to be, or it was colored rather, by Dave Kemp. I think this combined with the metal foil look, it's really going to pop. I am very excited to see the physical product to that one. Here we have Madrakis, again, another scene in the book where Madrakis is using his arcane ability to pull some earth upward. And one of the cool things about Madrakis, although he's over 350 pounds and clears 6.5 feet in height, his most intimidating, or his most dangerous thing, I should say, is actually his brain. And so you get to see that a little bit here. Everybody has kind of a favorite. If anybody remembers the original series of Power Rangers, there was the Green Ranger who did a lot of cool stuff, but never really did the finishing blow. Yeah, Madrakis like kind of aligns with that type of archetype. He seems to be a lot more so a fan favorite along many of the readers of this book so far. I'm very flattered.
He's Beta Ray Bell.
I get that joke a lot too. Yes. His is brass armor as opposed to Asgardian armor. There's a whole reason for why he wears such a considered quote unquote soft armor over something like iron or something more superior. Basically it's ceremonial, but most people don't understand. Just upgrade and have some stronger stuff, but he chooses that. This is done by Jay Sloan.
Beautiful.
This one was cool.
This one is definitely getting a lot of love. It's colored by Dave Kemp as well. And in this issue, it's the first time you meet Chazco's pet. Its name is Emix. It's a 3-eyed albino crow. Pardon the pixelation of this screenshot, but this crow it's just disturbing enough that you have to examine it a little closer.
Yeah.
And
yes, we know he's naked.
Yes, that too. And also, Dave said he found it quite challenging in a positive manner because the color scheme in conjunction with nighttime, he had to use a lot of different shades of similar colors, but I'm really happy with how the end product turned out. It's better than I anticipated.
He did a great job.
I think so.
It doesn't get lost at all.
Yes. Yeah, he does a good job establishing what is what. There's depth. There's even something like that arcane trail going behind his head, behind Max's wing. It really shows there's a lot of depth in that with the color and everything else going on there. And this is the last one. It's being colored as we speak. This is done in right in the middle of an undead horde, and it was drawn by from the UK as Russ Leach, he's done work for Batman and various other He has one called The Atlantean, which is based off of Kull, a prisoner who becomes king. One of the inspiring stories that helped develop many barbarian stories, including Conan. And I was very, very grateful that I got him on board for this. I am very, very excited to see how this looks once the color's put in. And I'll stop sharing here. We launch on April Fools, April 1st. There is no Fools. There was a joke that the trailer on the Kickstarter should be a ritual for the first day. We will not do such shenanigans. However, with that said, this is a 3-part miniseries. We already made the joke earlier. There's no 6 years worth of lore that you need to know going into this. It's beginning, middle, end. Each issue is like an act. The whole story takes place over one night. And everybody here is a D&D player or has some D&D experience in one form or another. This is based off of the first homebrew campaign that I've ever run. And the main difference is the main characters that my players played as, I removed them and I made my own characters based off of the players. I had some really, really cool depth. I really intended for this story to feel like the world existed before this comics begins and the world exists after. And because it's about these 4 friends, if you were dropped in the middle of a random circle of friends, you're going to roughly understand how everybody interacts with each other. There might be little things like minor inside jokes you might not get, and you are really going to feel like these people know each other. So any of you, if you've ever had a circle of friends you don't get to see as much anymore, by the time you get to see them again, even if it's for a short while, it's very recharging. Your soul pretty much longs for these people. And this entire miniseries is an homage to that level of camaraderie told through the medium of comic book in the theme of medieval fantasy setting. So swords, sorcery, zombies, melee, spells, and lots of other goodies. If you click on that follow link, or sorry, pre-launch link, click on the follow button rather.
You get a Buffy.
Most amount of help that you can give me.
Yep.
Just as anybody else, it helps sway the algorithm in the favor of the project, and that helps get more recognition.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of cool add-ons. So the Chasgo image, for example, that we're also making that a poster and metal foil. A lot of people wanted that one to be metal foil as well, but I didn't want to take away from the stained glass one. So a healthy compromise. I'm going to do a pinup of that image, all metal foil. There's also going to be plush tapestries, aka blankets, of some of the cover art of both issue 1 and 2. The stained glass one that I showed you, for example, is going to be one. You can hang it up on your window, let the sun come through. It'll look like a stained glass window. Hopefully, depending on the thickness of the blanket. One of them also is going to be the map that I had in a stretch goal in issue number 1's campaign. We're going to have that as an option to buy for an add-on this time around, but we're also going to be adding that onto said tapestries. There's going to be character sheets as well, one of every character at level 5 based off of D&D, and there's lots of other cool stuff I can't talk about yet, but click on that, notify me on launch for the pre-launch, and hopefully in the near future I can talk more about this because it's torture having to keep.
Well, if you refresh, I'm follower number 65. I don't know who 64 was.
Wow, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, hang on a minute. I'm gonna unfollow it.
65.
I'm not gonna let you get any higher than what you can be.
There's a whole legion of 65 haters, and as soon as there's one ad, one of the haters removes there. We'll never pass this mark ever.
I feel like that sometimes when people cancel and adjust their pledges. Like, do they hate that number?
Is
that why you did this? You just increase it, you jerk.
I've never understood it because I know there's people out there that do stupid shit, and I'm like, why are you doing this stupid shit? You don't know what's happening on the other side of the computer. You can't tell if they're getting upset. You don't know what's happening.
I've already dealt with 2 fake pledges. One the night that we launched, which was so obvious, it was 9,999.
Oh my god!
It shot us up to 10,000, and I didn't say. Everybody in the chat was like, "What happened?" I'm like, Don't get excited. It's a fake.
Yeah.
I know it is.
Music.
Yeah, and then they canceled it, and then the second one was like 2350. I'm like, you are messing with my stretch goals. Stop it. And I reported that one. And I don't know if Kickstarter took care of it or the person saw my update that said I was reporting it, because it just says person canceled. But I was just like, God, how worthless is your life that this is what you get a kick out of, you know?
Well, yeah.
One of my favorite things about having like people, you talk about like, don't you have better things to do with your life? In YouTube, when they first started bringing in like versus dislike, and they used to show it on a bar, like green versus red.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
People in the comments would be like, let's keep this one even. It'd be like 55 likes, 55 dislikes. And people would like whatever it was.
They would do these little games,
Or another one would be all green except the very end was reds. It'd be like, keep hitting dislike to keep the blunt lit or whatever.
Oh, God.
Or the opposite, the handle's getting too short. Regrow Darth Vader's lightsaber because
All right, Joe, go ahead. Tell the people where they can find you. All the good stuff. Go for it.
So if you type in maliamayhem.com, it should take you straight here. But yeah, our regular website is just childsplaycomics.com. You can follow all our social medias at the bottom there. Like I said, we try to stay pretty active in at least the area. We do have at least a couple more projects coming out this year, at least one other that I'm going to help a friend with. So it's going to be pretty busy 2025. So looking forward to it. And yeah, 24 now we're on 24 days. Since we've been talking, we lost a day. We were at 25 when we started.
We crossed that barrier.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's see what the video looks like. Let's play the videotape.
Hopefully you can hear, because one of my friends, he's got a radio voice just like you do, Ray. You have a very good radio voice. Just wanted to say that. One of my friends does too, and he did the voiceover for this one.
All right, let's see. Ooh, love it already.
Yes.
Malia Marinelli was just your average geeky girl. She loved tabletop gaming, cosplay, and attending Comic Cons. At one such con, she came across a mysterious, magical D20. When she touched the D20, it instantly teleported her to the Tabletopian realm. She met the Game Master, who chose Malia to be the defender of the realm. The mischievous creature known as Troll was teleporting to different worlds within the realm and wreaking havoc. Troll's interference caused gamers in the real world to inexplicably lose while playing tabletop games. As frustrated gamers stopped playing certain games in the real world, those areas in the realm started falling apart. She adopted her cosplay character name, Malia Mayhem. Her job now is to stop Troll and restore the realm, all the while wondering which adventure will be the one that will lead her back home. Now you can follow Malia's adventures in her own comic book. Pick up one of 5 exclusive covers or collect them all. Plus, every tier comes with a copy of Malia Mayhem number 0. But hurry, this offer won't last forever.
Reminds me, classic commercials. Classic
Nice.
food.
I was waiting for the He-Man theme to come out after
Exactly.
that intro. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Hi, I'm Adam, and so forth and so on.
Yep, ingrained in our memory.
Yes.
All right, kids, don't do drugs.
My favorite part of that intro is after he says that opening sentence. Hi, I'm Adam, Prince of Eternia, and then I become, and then He-Man, the most powerful person in the universe. And then he punches the screen, like he literally punches
The cameraman.
That was my favorite part, man.
Hey, I'm He-Man. Go fuck yourself, buddy.
That was definitely my favorite part. I think I wrecked the TV or two by punching back.
I
You're
feel like
bro
that big-
fisting He-Man.
What was that? The big green cat that just be cowering in the corner, and then when the guy with the bee roar.
Yeah, I'm gonna zap a green cat with lightning, and I am not eating mushrooms right now.
Oh my god.
So good.
All right, Chad, hit it.
Hit what?
Tell the people where they can find you and where they can find the thing. Come on, do your job.
Okay, fine. You can find me here at home. That's where I'm at currently. No, so you can find me on social media. Most of my stuff, if you just type in Rolling Squid Bones on Google, or you can also just go to my link tree, Rolling Squid Bones, and you can find all me on social media. So legitimately, you can just type Rolling Squid Bones into Google, and we are the only thing that pops up. I also have a store, which is rollingsquidbones.com, so you can get all my other books and prints from Hadia, because she's my co-owner, so she has all of her stuff on there. And then you can also just go to the Kickstarter and back it. So yeah, that's me. Yeah.
And make sure to hit the tier with the D&D. Come on, there's only 3
left.
Go
hit.
You can come play along with us.
Exactly.
Shenanigans of the greatest kind shown soon.
Yeah, we promise it will be worth it.
And who knows what Nat's gonna play this time?
Right. He might play He-Man.
He might.
You know.
All right, let's play the videotape, folks.
Sure.
Now we are ready to sail for the horn. Way rolling go. The boots and our cold boys are all in the pond. Pretty rollicking Randy Dandy-o. Heave a port or weave away. Way rolling go. The anchors are moored and the cables are stored. Pretty rollicking
Okay, that was good. I was not expecting half that stuff. Dude, that was a pretty good song.
Thank you. Yeah. So my buddy CJ Graham, he's been my buddy for like 13 years. He actually does that. He did the whole song, and you can actually get that in the digital deluxe tier. He also did my previous trailer as well. He did Fish in the Sea. So he's also in a Slipknot tribute band.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the lead singer, and they're Tethered and Torn, and I saw them a couple of weeks ago, and they were awesome. So, but he's actually going to be doing the next trailer as well. So, yep, and it's a full song. So when you back it, it's a full like 3-minute track.
I gotta say, I always like when people do that with they add music to their comics, because it just reminds me when I was a kid, I would have my own playlist happening while I read the comics.
Yeah, exactly.
So, folks, on my part, one last thing here. Of course, you know we suck at comics, and if you've ever wanted a written Writ Ralph piece, this is your chance to get it, because I don't like publishing. It's a whole other job that happens that you need to take away from your writing in order to do. But these guys at Wayward Raven have made this easier for me, because they've stuck me in this anthology. And my story is about the Taínos gods having issues, and someone ends up in the middle of it. And of course, you get a Shadow Rabbit piece with this, and it's an art piece. It's not a clay piece. But you can get a clay piece too, because the Shadow Rabbit actually has a beautiful raven on a skull in this as well. So there's things happening. And I am telling you right now, folks, I just made a video about it. If you take on the tier the Shadow Rabbit has, where you buy the piece that he has made, I will add a story to it about the Wayward Raven. And in case you guys are wondering what we're talking about, I will show you. There it is. That is a nice piece from Shadow Rabbit, and he has made this beautiful piece of the Wayward Raven. So if you guys get this, I think it's a $250 tier, I will throw in an exclusive Wayward Raven story. There you have it, folks. You've heard me. Go do it. And of course, I have to add this before I hear that voice guy come over and go, "Okay, Ralph, but you didn't even put it in the comment section. How am I supposed to go find it?"
I love that voice. You need to do that more often.
Again, I told you to leave me alone.
Oh, I love when he calls me or he contacts me.
You didn't put Mazowski. You didn't put it in the comments.
I do not sound like that. Okay.
Wazowski, put it in the comments. I'm gonna do
There
that
you go.
every time now.
All right, folks. I don't think Nat's showing up today. I think he's working late. So, Tony, anything
He's
else?
on Marvel Rivals. Don't even lie.
He probably is on Marvel.
Hey, listen, the Thing and Thing and Human Torch come out on Friday. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Saturday, I don't remember where it's at because I'm doing it with my brother. But if you're in New York and on Saturday, there's a theater. They're gonna give all 3 of the Star Wars movies, the episodes 4, 5, and 6, and it's only like $30.
Ooh.
And it's in a theater. I think that because my brother's doing it, and I just got the ticket through him. I think they're gonna have an orchestra play the music too, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, deadly.
Oh,
With
it's like
$30,
$9.
that's a good deal.
It's only $30, so if you
That's
That's a good deal.
I did that with
play the music.
those those orchestra like when you go and watch the movie and have the orchestra, those are really cool.
Yeah.
I did that with How to Train Your Dragon, and it was sweet. Then the Final Fantasy we did the Final Fantasy Rebirth concert as well, live orchestra, and that was pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, I did it with the first Lord of the Rings movie, and then when they did it for the second and the third, they did it at the same exact time as New York Comic Con, which made no sense. And it was like because they did the first one, it was just like a Friday, and then when they did the second and the third, it was the Thursday and Friday of New York Comic Con. I'm like, why are you doing this? Well, I mean,
you have your audience.
You know what you're at, right? Like we can't be at place at the same time. I don't know, but but no, it's really cool though.
All right, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the show. A lot of geeking out, a lot of D&D, a lot of fun. These projects need your support. Support indie because indie is the place to be. Look, you got the big red dice and it's going to roll in your favor, maybe. Critical Role. There you go. There you have it. That's the way to end the show. And I'll do what I always do, folks. I'll press the button. And where it stops,